Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arthur Jimenez. I work for PIDC. I do business development. Typically, I work with small business owners. I'm also joined with Ellen Nalen with Sherry Bond Associates. And we're here to talk about Rebuild program, give a little background about the Rebuild program, the Rebuild Ready program as well, and then also the Rebuild contract line of credit. So I will share my slides. Let me share. All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, as like I said, we'll introduce our speakers, talk about the Rebuild program objectives, also about the Rebuild Ready program, and then we'll go a little deeper into the contract line of credit. And we'll have some questions sometime at the end for Q&A. So I already introduced myself. Ellen, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name's Ellen Nalen.
Oh, we can't hear you, Ellen.
Oh.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. Can you hear them, Alex?
Yeah, I can hear Ellen. Yeah.
Oh,
You can't hear me.
I know what happened here. Ellen, you might have to log out and log back in.
I think everybody but you can hear me though, Arthur.
Yeah. Arthur, maybe next to the mute button.
Alex, is there anything you can do with Ellen's audio? Is there any? Alex audio go away too? Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, Arthur is logging in. I guess I can go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Ellen Nalen, and I'm the owner of Surety Bond Associates. We are a surety bond agency that works with minority and women-owned contractors in the Philadelphia region, and I'm actually here to talk on behalf of the Rebuild Ready Business Support Program. We are the program manager for the City of Philadelphia Department of Rebuild. Can you hear me now, Arthur?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
That worked.
So I introduced myself and we'll just wait to hear from you.
Okay. All right, does that work?
Yep.
Okay. You can start, Ellen.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the Rebuild program, it's hard to believe people aren't, but I'm sure there are some folks that aren't. There's more than 400 neighborhood parks, recreation centers, and libraries in Philadelphia, and they serve as safe places for people to learn, play, and exercise and get access to important services in the community. And about 90% were found to be in need of investment because they were in disrepair. So through the historic beverage tax, this is Mayor Kenny's kind of his pet project. Rebuild is investing millions of dollars, hundreds of millions to be exact, in improving community facilities that would include parks, recreation centers, and libraries. And as part of this initiative, Rebuild is also supporting minorities and women who work in the neighborhoods that they're improving these projects in, and who are also in the design and construction industries in Philadelphia. The other thing that Rebuild is doing is engaging quite heavily with the community to leverage their knowledge and power and expertise. And some of the community is actually very involved in a lot of the Rebuild projects. So next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, this isn't the same PowerPoint. Okay. So Rebuild is investing, as I mentioned before, in the community. There have been a number of sites have already gone through construction. A lot of them are currently underway. We've had 2 projects just recently in the past couple of weeks get awarded. The Heitzman project is moving forward. They've selected their GC, and they've done a really great job at including a lot of MWBEs in the project. And we're also very excited that one of our own MBEs, a mutual client of PIDC and Surety Bond Associates, Torado Construction, is the first minority contractor to land a GC project with Rebuild, and he will be performing on the Glavin project through PHS. Next slide, please. So there are already a number of projects, as I said, that are underway. Here's a snapshot of some of the projects that are in the pipeline that should be released very soon. Olney Rec Center is really close. I know they're going to be bidding on the demolition piece of this project, and this is a complete site and building improvement project that is expected to start sometime this winter and early spring. This is one of the larger projects that Rebuild has in the pipeline. The Chew Playground is a smaller project. This is mostly field improvements, and we can expect to see that released sometime this spring. Vernon Park is another smaller project that will involve site improvements, and the timeline for that is spring of next year. Zeiler Playground, that is a site and building improvement project, and that should be ready to bid sometime this spring. Murphy Rec Center next spring, and the Fishtown Rec Center hockey court. This is probably going to be a little bit smaller project in that it really involves just major plumbing investment in improving the hockey court at that rec center. Next slide. Okay, so the Rebuild Business Support Program is the program that we run for Rebuild, and that provides Philadelphia-based design and construction businesses training in the specific skills that they need to successfully bid on projects, and also technical assistance to perform on contracts that they're awarded. And as you saw from the previous slide, most of the projects range from improvements and new construction of recreation centers, playgrounds, and libraries, and some swimming pools. The Fishtown pool recently was completed this summer, and that was a huge, huge success, and will be open next summer for the community to enjoy. So our next slides, I'm going to just give you an overview of what the Rebuild Business Support Program is all about. We offer a construction management cohort training component that educates MWBE contractors on the key elements of construction management. We provide classroom lecture with some classroom activity, along with one-on-one assistance from our team of construction management professionals. We have construction consultants and a construction CPA and a construction attorney on our team. So in addition to the support offered through our bonding team, contractors have access to all the resources they need to be successful in construction. So the cohort workshop series focuses on the key elements of contract procurement, contract negotiations, project management, construction accounting, financial management, insurance and surety, along with marketing and leadership. Next slide. And then we offer technical assistance and business support services with MWBE certification. If a contractor needs assistance with certification, we have consultants that can help with that. We also help contractors get qualified to bid on rebuild projects. A lot of the nonprofit project users require that the subcontractors pre-qualify, so we help them put those packages together. We provide accounting and financial management and back office assistance with paperwork and things like that. We can help them apply for their bonding. We can help them apply for the rebuild contract line of credit. We provide them with access to tools to help them qualify for bonding if they need assistance with that. Along with, if they are awarded a project, we can offer assistance with certified payroll, payment applications, site visits, and help them with any project management needs that they have along the way. Next slide. So we've recently developed a tier 2 mentorship program for the alumni that we've trained. We've trained 90 MWBE contractors over the past, I guess, about 2.5 years now. And we've invited a select group of alumni to return. They've already undergone this foundational training, and now we're actually going to walk them through bidding on an actual rebuild project. They're going to be teamed with one of our mentors, and that mentor will guide them through the program. And the structure of the training sessions is going to be more hands-on, less lecture. They'll actually be filling out documents that are required to bid on rebuild projects. One of the workshops will have them complete PIDC's contract line of credit application. So it's really meant to be a more hands-on program to help them get through some of the hurdles with the paperwork, just to get in a better position to actually start bidding on these opportunities. Next slide. So to participate in the mentorship program, the contractor has to have already gone through a rebuild cohort training program. They have to be a GC or a construction trade contractor. This isn't really meant for architects and engineers or project managers. This is for construction boots on the ground contractors. They have to be committed to bid on rebuild projects. They have to be either approved as an emerging vendor, and the emerging vendor program is tied into rebuild. And if you're eligible to be certified as an MWBE, you can apply to be included in this registry. And while you're getting certified, you can actually be counted towards meeting rebuild goals. So it's a really huge initiative, and I strongly encourage anyone who's not already certified to register with the Emerging Vendor Program. And I'll drop that link in the chat when I'm finished speaking. If you're not in the Emerging Vendor Program, you'd have to be already certified MWBE and in the OEO registry. So the whole goal of the Emerging Vendor Program is to get contractors certified and registered with OEO. And you should have gross sales of around $250,000. It's not nailed in stone, but we just kind of establish that as a benchmark that we'd like to see. Next slide. So then we have access to the resources. Arthur's going to tell you all about the rebuild contract line of credit. That's really important that that subs have money coming in while they're waiting to get paid, because if you haven't participated in public work, it can take some time to get paid. So Arthur will tell you how that resource can assist you in cash flowing your rebuild projects. And we provide you with access to bonding and also access to insurance so that you're in compliance with the insurance requirements and any bonding requirements in your rebuild contracts. Next slide. So here's a little bit more about the emerging vendor program. As I mentioned before, it's really a very unique program, and it allows participants to count towards diversity goals on rebuild projects while they're getting assistance in getting their permanent certification as a minority or woman-owned business. So the Emerging Vendor Program allows non-certified minority and women-owned businesses to count towards the diversity goals in rebuild projects up to $150,000 in contract value while they're getting assistance in getting certified. Next slide. So how to get ready. Here's a few steps to be prepared to get involved in the rebuild program. You can sign up on Rebuild's website for vendor email updates. There's also a call for interest form, and that if you fill that out, if you're a design or construction firm, that gets included in a database that all the nonprofit project users look at when they're putting out their projects to bid. So it's really important to get your name in the hat for those opportunities. And I'll drop links into the chat for each of these web links. You can check for contracting opportunities. Once you fill out a request for to be included in the vendor email updates, you will automatically get updates on contract opportunities. Obviously, we just talked about getting certified as an MWBE or applying for the Emerging Vendor Program. If you haven't done either of those, you really need to pursue that so that you can be included in the projects. And if you need technical assistance with construction, financial management, or anything relative to what I discussed previously, please sign up for the Rebuild Ready training program. It's an excellent training program. I think our next cohort, next regular cohort will be sometime next spring. We currently have an initiative right now with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for an all Spanish speaking cohort. And that's about 3 weeks into that cohort, and it's going very well already. Next slide. So if you're interested in finding out more about resources available to you through Rebuild, if you're interested in career or business opportunities, they have a workforce development program. You can reach out to rebuild@phila.gov for more information about that program. Next slide. And this is my contact information. If you have any questions about the Rebuild Ready program, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll drop my email in the chat, but somebody already did.
All right, I'll take from here. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Art.
Again, for those who don't know, so PIDC is the economic development partner for the city of Philadelphia. So we primarily do that by we work with the city closely to support small businesses. So we only lend to businesses that are located in Philadelphia. These are 4 examples of our loan products we provide. Working capital equipment loan, this is available for any type of business in Philadelphia. For working capital to purchase equipment, purchase supplies, inventory, or just working capital for payroll needs. The contract line of credit, we'll go into a little more detail. That helps you get paid faster on those public projects that they will pay, but they tend to be slow on the timing of the payment. The capital project loan, that's probably one of the oldest loan products we have. They use some federal funds, but they are typically lower below market rate loans. I would say between 3 and 4% to help you purchase a building and renovate it. And lastly is a commercial mortgage, which also is for purchasing buildings, but does not use federal funds. So it is right now it has a rate of about 4.5%. And this is more straightforward. It doesn't have as much red tape as the capital project loan. So that's what we created. It's much faster and easier to qualify for that. Okay. So for the contract line of credit, now we have two. We always had our traditional contract line of credit. The interest rate there was 3.5%. That's annually. So the contract line of credit is really helping you to bridge receivables. That's really its only possible uses are for. You can't use it for working capital. You essentially get paid faster on the invoices that have been approved by the contract owner. And it requires an assignment of proceeds. So just because we've sent we advanced to the funds of the invoice, we do expect that once the payer or the contract owner is has the funds ready available to pay, they come directly to PIDC so we can pay down that debt. And then the similarities here is there are also both the 12 months annual renew options of the term, and the amount goes up to 50,000 up to 500,000. You'll see in the contract line of credit, we say 300,000 there, but you can go up to $500,000 if you are if an existing PIDC client. So if you are a new client, you will be limited to $300,000 initially, but for our existing clients, you can apply for the maximum amount. The interest rate for the, so I'll go now into the rebuild contract line of credit benefits. The interest rate is discounted to 1.5%. So that's less than half of 3.5%, which is already a low rate. And that's an annual rate. So you would only pay that if the invoice was outstanding for a whole year. It probably won't be for a whole year, probably 3, maybe up to 6 months. So you'll probably pay a fraction of that 1.5%. And is it advance similar to the contract line of credit, the traditional contract line of credit? We'd advance you 90% of the invoice amount. We retain 10% until we receive the payment from the contract owner. And then we take out our interest rate, the ACH fee, and then that whatever that balance is of that 10%, we send that to you. And again, the rate, the term is 12 months with annual renew options. So the rebuild contract line of credit is only for, again, with businesses that have a rebuild contract. The amount goes from $50,000 up to $300,000. And there is a grant opportunity up to $5,000. We call that a mobilization grant. It can be used really for, payroll, supplies, equipment, or any fees related to the contract work. We've also had some people apply for using the grant towards software that would help them, like project management software, for example, that would be used for rebuild, but it can be also used for other projects. That is eligible as well, those types of uses. Okay, I'll go next slide. So the timeline here, so typically it takes about 45 to 60 days. This is a breakdown of the steps we go through. We schedule a call. I ask you if it looks like you will qualify. Let me see, you're eligible. I ask you to fill out an online application. There was a $250 application fee. We've waived that for this year. I think we will start that next year. So, I encourage you to apply if you're interested to in this product, so you can waive those fees. We review the application and with the and ask for supporting documentation. Anything underwriting will ask for. That typically takes 5 to 10 days. And then once we have all the documents, then we do full underwriting. We present that to the loan committee. That takes another 5 to 10 days. And then once we get approval from the loan committee, then we issue a commitment letter. That takes about 1 to 2 days. And then once the commitment letter has been signed, and then we engage with our legal counsel to draft the assignment of contract proceeds. Like I said earlier, just make sure that the proceeds of the contract come directly to PIDC, and then we schedule the loan closing. Okay. So there are some closing fees there. So if it's a loan of $50,000, it's only $750 a closing fee. If it's more than that, it'll be $1,250. Okay, next slide. So here's just an overview of the kind of underwriting fundamentals. We go through the 5 C's of credit, and I'll just cover each one quickly. The first C is character. So we still review your credit report of the business owner, the experience the business owners have on their in the industry. That also includes the team members they have. And we just want to really get understanding that you've been in the business for at least I would say 3 years. You've had some success in previous projects, and that you're in a good position to complete the, for example, the rebuild project. For collateral, in most cases, it'll just be the assignment of the contract proceeds. We're really trying to be flexible here because the assignment comes to PIDC. That really mitigates our risk of repayment. So yeah, typically the collateral is only the contract assignment of contract proceeds. The cash flow here is we would like to see you be in business for at least 2 years. We're trying to be flexible here. We understand how we've performed on previous projects. Were you profitable in those projects? Did you finish on time and on schedule? And do you also have other sources of income? We can also consider that in your cash flow. Capital is, we'd like to understand how much capital you invest in your business, and do you have existing capital or cash reserves you've been using as working capital? There's no minimum amount. We just want to understand how you've been operating your business right now, and and most importantly, how much have you invested in your business to see how strong a commitment you have. And then lastly, we talk about conditions. This is more the economic conditions. This is just more just the background of the industry, of how it's been doing or now how it's recovering. Because now we talk about the impact of the pandemic. So we like to understand how your business has adapted to the pandemic, ongoing pandemic. Okay, go next slide. So we do have an online application. I would say it takes about a good 15 to 20 minutes to fill out. There are some documents you have to upload at the end. It does ask some questions about if the principal has ever filed for bankruptcy, so you have to prepare to answer that, or if you've ever had any judgments or collections that are on your account. Typically, the credit report does show that, but we want to make sure that we ask you as well, the business owner, just to make sure, because we will be looking into those. It doesn't disqualify you from the application. We just need to know about it and ask you more questions on why that happened. So the key attachments are if you have the contract readily available, I'd ask you to upload a copy for that. But if you don't have the rebuild contract yet available, we still encourage you to apply, so we at least can get the process rolling on our side. Because there might be some delays on issuing that contract. And once you're ready, once you receive the contract, we can close quickly on the contract line of credit. We'd ask for also some information about the project budget, estimates on what you'd be performing, consent to look at your credit report, a tax certification document to ask you just to check if you're updated on city taxes, 3 years of personal business financials or tax returns, a personal financial statement, which is like basically your own personal balance sheet of it's on one column you fill out your assets, on one column you fill out your liabilities, and then we understand what your net worth is. Then next I asked for the interim financial statements. So for 2021, we'd like to ask for the latest quarters. That would be about September 30th. And then also asking for 3 years of personal tax returns for any owner who owns more than 20% of the business, and then your existing debt schedule. So these are a lot of documents. That's why it takes a little bit longer to upload to complete the application. It's best to put those together or compile them before you fill it out, so you're not like searching while you fill out the application. And then here are some examples of some supplements you might ask for: your resumes. An appraisal is only required if we need to take collateral on the property, but For the rebuild contract line of credit, that shouldn't be an issue. We shouldn't need an appraisal. Also, an organizational chart would be helpful. Articles of incorporation, that's more of an item for at closing. 3 monthly statements, bank statements, also an item for closing. Monthly projections, this is something our underwriting can work with you on that. And then lastly is the aging log of payables or receivables. Here's an example of the monthly cash flow that we do. So this is not required, but it's still a good exercise to do just so you understand the timing. You can get a really good visual representation of the timing of when your expenses are incurred. When do you do the work? You come out of pocket for that project. When do you bill? And then when do you actually get paid for that project? You'll see that there is, the delay can cause a cash flow deficit. Like on the bottom here, it shows you there's a deficit of up to $37,000. So that's what really is that's what the rebuild, the contract line of credit is for. It helps to bridge that that cash flow need in regards to the late payments of the invoices. So that helps also estimate the balance of the amount of the contract line of credit. It usually is about a third to a half contract amount from our experience, excuse me. Okay, thank you. On the next slide. The minimum collateral, so all our loans do require personal guarantees, and also there is a lien on business assets. If there is already existing lien on the business, we can be a second to that or subordinate. And like I said earlier, there's assignment of contract proceeds. And that's it. This is our team at PIDC. That's my contact information. I'll put it again in the chat so you have that and you can copy and paste it. I'll open up here for any questions. Any questions from the group? Anything came up over the chat? Looking now, I don't see any questions.
Looks like we have one from Melissa Thomas in the chat.
Yeah.
Any penalties for early payoff?
For the contract line of credit, no, because it's revolving. There is no payment penalty, like prepayment penalty, and that also includes our other loans. So as long as I think so. There is on some of our products, but we can get that waived if you tell us in advance, because our funders do ask that for prepayment penalty, but we can usually get that waived. And there's a question to clarify between the difference between the two line of credit products. Sure. So it's the traditional contract line of credit is really for any type of contract. It's best used for public work. So, if you have a contract with City of Philadelphia, for example, that's what's best for use for. The rebuild contract line of credit is only for rebuild projects. It is a city project, but specifically rebuild, you can use that rebuild contract line of credit, which has a discounted interest rate. So it's only for rebuild projects. That's really the main difference. The traditional, we don't use that for the rebuild contracts. It's other types of work when you're doing work with the city and with the housing authority, with PHDC, with redevelopment authority, any other type of city agency. That'd be the traditional contract line of credit. Rebuild is only for the rebuild. Rebuild line of credit is only for the rebuild projects. Okay, no, you're welcome. Any other questions? So there is, I don't think we posted it, but there is a good link on the rebuild website about upcoming contracts. Let's see if I can get that. I always try to post that because it's not very easy to get to.
They have one right now for, I think, underground plumbing inspection at one of the sites.
Okay. You know, and this changes almost, are you talking about the Nicetown CDC? Or is that something else?
I think it might be something else.
Okay, but this does change from my experience every weekly almost. So it's a good to check the website.
I'm gonna drop this link in there. Arthur, yeah, Nicetown Pool
Mhm.
or Nicetown Community Development Center, Shepherd Recreation Center. That's the project I was thinking of. It's a small, under $10,000 project.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
they frequently have really small service or repair contracts that are outside of the, the general scope of the rebuild initiative.
Okay, yeah, so that's something that, constantly updated, so you should check that on a regular basis. Okay, any other questions before you wrap up? I mean, if not, thanks for joining us today. Let us know if you have any questions. It can be really anything about rebuild. It doesn't have to be specific to what and I talked about. Yeah, well, we'll have another. We're going to start moving these monthly, moving forward. These webinars, and yeah, thanks for joining us today. Ellen, do you have any other words you want to share before you wrap up?
No, I just dropped the contract opportunity portal in the chat.
Okay.
But we're available for any questions. We're in between cohorts right now, with the exception of the Hispanic Chamber program. But we look forward to launching a new initiative sometime next spring.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Ellen. Thanks everyone who attended.
Take care.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
I don't think I can be him right now.